Hello! So today I want to record my first video review of a fountain pen. I know I did the Pilot Juice, so it's not like this is my first video pen review, but it's my first fountain pen video review. And what we're going to be looking at today is the Kustoms Ink. This is a pen that is on loan to me from a friend, and so I want to get it reviewed and get it back in the mail to him so he can go back to enjoying it. Because I've had it in my possession for way too long. So first we'll kind of take a look at the pen. I want to compare it to a couple of other pens that I happen to have, and then we'll talk about how I feel about it and how other people feel about it, because I have my boyfriend's opinion on it as well. So, but first let's take a look at this pen. So this is a machined fountain pen. I don't know if I've heard of very many other machined fountain pens. It's made by Kustoms, which is a company here in the US. I believe they're based in Arizona. It's aluminum, the body is aluminum, and then you can get it in different color finishes, and I don't know why my camera doesn't want to focus very well on it. Maybe because it's shiny. But you can get it in a bunch of different colors. I have the red one, and something cool about this pen is you also have a choice of a couple of different sections, materials. I believe this is the brass one because it certainly doesn't look like copper and it doesn't look like aluminum. So we'll go with that it's brass. So this is a big pen. It's a thick, heavy pen. I don't have any batteries in my scale, so I didn't weigh it. But I watched the review by Mr. SBRE Brown, which I will link below. He said that it was 50 grams, and he wasn't sure if his scale was maybe correct on that, but to me this feels like a 50-gram pen. I've had the Lamy 2000, the stainless steel one, which was roughly a 50-gram pen, and this feels to be about the same weight. It's definitely much heavier than like my Vanishing Point, which is roughly a 30-gram pen, so I would believe that it's 50 grams. Okay, so it's got this kind of sleek kind of shape. It's got the squared off ends, which I like. I happen to like the squared off ends. I don't like the cigar-shaped kind of pens. It's got this kind of funky clip here. It makes me think very kind of like architectural kind of design. It's a sturdy, springy clip. It will go over like denim, like on the edge of a pocket, so it can accommodate fairly thick things going in the clip, which is good, and it will hold. You know, it's got this little nub here, so it will actually hold onto your pants or your shirt or something. Clip comes over the top, and it's held in with these two little, I believe they're hex screws, that you can actually take out and take it apart. It has this little line that goes all the way around here. You get down, got the seam, and then it's a plain barrel all the way down to the end. So it's a pretty, oh, just knocked my camera. It's a pretty plain pen in terms of there's no branding on it. It's all one color except for the clip. The clip is silver on all of them, and it's just pretty simple and plain. So then if you unscrew it, oh, something else I want to note. So if I hold this, the body of the pen steady, and I start turning it to unscrew it, that's one full turn. That's two full turns before it comes off. So then you have your section, which, like I said, you have a choice of a couple different materials, and I will link to the Kustoms website down below as well if you want to take a look at these. It's kind of a contoured section. You have the threads, section, nib. The nib, I believe, is a pretty basic, let me check, Schmidt nib. It's not a fancy nib at all. This one writes pretty well. I don't know, what size is this one? This is, I believe this one's a fine, but I can't say for sure because I can't see any markings on the nib that actually says the nib grade. This one writes well, it writes smooth enough. You know, basic feed, basic nib. And I believe the nibs could probably screw in and out, but I haven't checked that myself. So if I unscrew the section, basic standard international converter, takes cartridges or converters. There you can kind of take a look at the barrel. It's a really thick, hefty barrel. So yeah, that's the pen. Like, there's nothing that fancy about it. It's a pretty hefty pen. This thing is built like a tank. Like, seriously, this thing can handle a lot of abuse. And I guess that's a good thing about it, and it could be a bad thing. But okay, so now I want to compare it to a couple of other pens so you can kind of get an idea of size and things like that. So first pen, let's take a look at is a Safari, because I figure that's kind of a good standard. I'm trying to line these guys up. So that's just a normal Safari, and then a Vanishing Point as well. And then just for kicks, a Kaweco All Sport. So you can see it's roughly the same size as a Safari or Vanishing Point. It's kind of in that, what I would call like a normal size pen. It's not oversized and it's not a pocket pen. It's kind of in that, you know, 5.5 or so inch range. Which is weird because to me it feels bigger. Like I wanted to compare it to my TWSBI VAX 700, but my man friend has kidnapped that pen, so I don't have it here. But you know, seeing it with these guys, I don't think it would be nearly as big as the VAX 700, but it feels that big, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how I feel about it and how my man friend said he felt about it, because we had very different opinions. My man friend loved this pen. He thinks this pen is the greatest thing ever. He wants one for himself. He is totally in love with it. He said it feels really solid. It would be a good pen to kind of, you know, stick in his pocket and take everywhere with him. He said it writes really nice. It feels good in his hand, which is funny. So my man friend is only 5'4". I'm 5'10". So I have pretty big hands. My hands are roughly the same length as a man's hand, but they're not as wide. So this is about how big that pen is. And I will say, like, it's not uncomfortable in my hand. It's a little big. So I'm finding it surprising that my man friend liked it, but he did. It is postable too, but that's just silly. And it doesn't really feel super secure when it posts. So, but he liked it unposted. So he felt it, you know, said it felt really good in his hand. He loved everything about it. I don't like this pen. And I don't want to badmouth Karas Kustoms because there's nothing wrong with the pen. It's not like my cup of tea. And here's why. First of all, I don't like the way the clip looks. It's just, stylistically, I don't love that. But, you know, that's my personal opinion. I happen to find the section, when I hold this in my hand, I mean, yes, it's a metal section. And it's not like I've never held metal section pens before. But to me, this doesn't feel comfortable. I don't know why. It's not like, I mean, the threads aren't super smooth, but it's not like I'm really like on the threads. It just feels really harsh and unforgiving in my hand. So I don't love that. I don't like that it takes 2 full turns to get the cap on, partly because I don't really like screw cap pens, especially not as kind of a carry with me and use for everything pen. I prefer, you know, snap cap pens like the Safari or a click pen like the Vanishing Point. I do think, however, if you're going to be carrying a pen in your pocket, it should be a screw top, because even my All Sport I've had come unscrewed in my pocket. And I don't know how many turns the All Sport takes. I suppose that takes more than 1 turn. It takes roughly 1.5. So I don't love that, but, you know, again, that's a personal thing. And that's really it. It's not that I hate Karas Kustoms or I would never buy anything from them or that I think this is an awful pen. It's just not really my style. It writes nicely. I can give a quick writing sample if I can grab a fresh piece of paper here. Just move all the pens out of the way. So, you know, it's a pretty basic nib. It was smooth, wrote right away. It was sent to me inked, so I pulled it out and it had been, you know, in the mail for a week or 2. Wrote as soon as I picked it up, so it doesn't seem to dry out. There's no problems with that. It seals nicely. It writes nicely. It writes as well as I could hope for anything to write. So I can't complain about that. I just don't love it. It's just not my style, and I would probably not purchase one for myself. However, I do think it's a very solid pen. I think it's a good pen to kind of take around as a knockaround pen. That's what I use my All Sport for. I carry this with me in my pocket all the time. You know, my boyfriend remarked, yes, he would carry this pen in his pocket. Well, me being female and the fashion industry being unfair to women and it doesn't give us enough pocket space, no way this would fit in my pocket. This thing barely fits in the pocket of most of my pants. So for me, this is not a pocketable pen, but I get that for most guys it is. And in that case, it would probably be a good pen to carry around in your pocket and just kind of have always there for you. And that's really all I got. It's not a bad pen. It's just not my favorite pen. And the other thing is that it's kind of pricey. I'm not saying the price is unjustified. So these start at $85, and that's for the aluminum bodied pen with an aluminum section. And then your cost is going to go up in $10 increments if you choose to have like one of the brass or copper sections with it. So, you know, you're between that $85 and $105 range. And I totally think that's a justified price, right? This is it's not quite like a hand-turned pen, but it is a pen that's more, I don't know if I can say that it's more labor-intensive, but, you know, these are not marketed on as big of a scale as, say, you know, an All Sport or something like that, made by some huge company. And you're supporting American-made and all of that. So I don't think the price is unjustified, but it's certainly not a cheap pen. You know, when you're pushing that $100 mark, I would rather pick up another All Sport or even see if I can catch, you know, Vanishing Point on sale versus maybe one of these. But again, maybe that's just because it didn't really sing to me. So I hope maybe that was helpful to anyone on the fence about it. Like I said, I do think it's a good pen, and you know, my boyfriend, he loved it, and I would maybe get him one for his birthday next year or for Christmas or something like that. Because for him, it was a good fit. For me, not so much. So I think that's all I got. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you have an ink and you love it or hate it, let me know what you think, because I'd be interested to hear kind of, I've only ever heard really glowing, super positive reviews about it. So I'm not trying to like be the negative Nancy here. It just, you know, wasn't for me. So let me know, what do you think about this pen? Is it for you? Do you love it? Do you hate it? You know, let me know what you think. And I'm gonna get this sent back off to its owner, and I don't know which pen I'll review next. Oh, yes I do. I have another pen that I'm gonna review next. So you should see that in, you know, a week or two. All right, well that's all I got. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.